Okay. Where did my pen go? There it is. You want to be in the background so bad? You can be in the background. So all your little funky ass friends can see I was telling the truth. I have a pillow with your fucking face on it. And you gave it to me. Alright. Let's get some murder shit going. Alright, Monday AM.
Nothing about Tammy's death is initially deemed to be suspicious. The defendant was in Hawaii at the time Tammy died.
Oh, thank you for joining. Welcome. No, I'm from the United States.
Power, and sex. That's what this case is about.
When Charles was killed, they thought that they were going to be getting his life insurance policy, although it went to Kay.
Just a couple of months before Tammy passed, Chad maxed out her life insurance.
Lori was greedy. She and JJ were each getting a little over $900
How's your day
a
going?
month in Social Security. She gets a check too because JJ was a minor and she was the sole living parent. Lori was getting Tylee's Social Security from Joe Ryan's death.
Tylee's biological father, Joe Ryan, died in April of 2018. It was chalked up to natural causes due to a heart attack.
That money, I believe that is the sole reason she didn't give JJ back.
I
to
live
us, and
in
she didn't let
United
Tylee go
States.
live with anyone else.
If the world is going to end, why are Chad and Lori worried about the insurance policies and the money?
The defendant and Chad used their self-proclaimed religious beliefs and teachings to justify their actions to others. Their actions from an affair to murder.
The religion, all that was just a vehicle to get them where they wanted to be, together with money and no kids, no husband for Lori, and no wife for Chad.
Did she refer to Tylee as a zombie?
Yes,
Did she refer to JJ as a zombie?
yes,
Did Lori deem Charles a zombie?
yes.
Did Lori refer to Tammy Daybell as a zombie?
I believe so, but she probably used that word.
All obstacles die.
All of the people that became a zombie got in Lori and Chad's way. Pattern's pretty clear.
Callie, no.
Throughout
You
the
love
entire
dressing.
trial, people kept wondering, what was Lori's defense?
What's dressing?
The day that the defense was supposed to start, The defense attorney said, "We do not believe that the prosecution has met their burden, and so we are not going to put on a defense." And that was a bombshell. The closest thing to a defense that we heard were the closing arguments.
Her attorney really started to blame things on Chad Daybell.
She so wants to be a leader, but she's not leading anyone. She's following Chad. After she met Chad Daybell, she changed. Her beliefs changed. 1 year after meeting Chad, 4 people are dead.
Lori was upset that her defense attorneys might be throwing Chad under the bus. She did not want to do that.
Proof has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. If it's not, the law says you must find her not guilty. No one here thinks Lori actually killed anyone. Someone else did the killing. Follow the lack of evidence.
We are now on verdict watch here in Boise outside the courthouse.
Verdicts could come any moment now following Vallow's 6-week trial.
The jury deliberated 5-6 hours before they came back.
In the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the State of Idaho, for the County of Fremont,
In a trial like this,
State of Idaho plaintiff versus Lori Vallow.
one of those jurors could say, no, she didn't do it. And you have to prepare yourself.
If you step back, it's impossible to see this series of crimes taking place without her participation.
Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tammy Daybell. Guilty.
It was a burden lifted off. We were so praying for the sentence to match the crime.
Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tylee Ryan and grand theft by deception. Guilty. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Joshua Jackson Vallow and grand theft by deception. Guilty.
It was a relief, but bittersweet. This is just reinforcing. They're dead. They're never coming back. You'll never see them again until you die. Bittersweet.
The Tammy Daybell conspiracy, you can't just wish someone dead and be found guilty of conspiracy. So I was surprised to see that conviction. The conspiracy to murder the children, I thought that was a no-brainer. I'll be honest with you, I thought from the get-go that she was guilty of sin.
The day of the sentencing, the line to get into the courthouse and people who came from other parts of the country to go sit in there and get closure on this was pretty remarkable. Going in, there was the possibility she could get out on parole.
Ms. Vallow, before I impose sentence, if you choose, you may address the court. Do you wish to address this court?
There was just a hush in the courtroom. It was already quiet, but you could have heard a pin drop. And then she started,
Jesus knows me, and Jesus understands me. I mourn with all of you who mourn my children and Tammy. Jesus Christ knows the truth of what happened here. Jesus Christ knows that no one was murdered in this case. Tylee came to me as a spirit after she died, and she said to me, "Stop worrying, Mom. We are fine." She knows how I worry and how I miss her.
It's hard to hear her talk like that. The Lori that I grew up with and the Lori that I knew, 5 years ago is not the same person.
She's become this other person that I don't recognize. This is who she really is now.
The first time JJ visited me after he passed away, he put his arm around me and he said to me, "You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. I love you." And I know you loved me every minute of my life. And I look forward to the day we are all reunited and I too will rest with them in the arms of my Jesus.
All right, Ms. Vallow, thank you for your comments to the court.
I don't think she'll ever admit that she was in the wrong. She felt like she was doing God's work. They know God don't want you to kill children.
Murder is the most serious offense. And the most unimaginable type of murder is to have a mother murdering her own children, and that's exactly what you did. After all of this evidence, the trial, you haven't shown any remorse. You haven't said you're sorry. Could you please rise for the pronouncement of sentence? You are sentenced to the custody of the State Board of Corrections to serve the maximum allowed sentence, a fixed, determinate life imprisonment sentence with no possibility of parole.
She got 5 life sentences without benefit of parole. I believe justice was served in Idaho. We cannot get any more earthly justice for JJ, Tyler, and Tammy.
We only had JJ for 7 years, but what an amazing 7 years. It's going to be okay. Because I know in the future I'll see him again.
You love your brother and your sister, and then your brother and your sister get involved in killing your niece and nephew who you love. So it's people that you love killing people that you love. It's hard to process that.
It's never gonna bring Tammy back. We are always gonna be missing Tammy, and we're always gonna know how she left this life. There's no resolution.
I still have questions. This belief system they created, did they really believe this? Did they really believe children were zombies?
Is she the one that talked Chad into doing this? Or did he have some sort of power over her?
The Murdaugh family name was well known. They are a legendary legal family.
If they had your case, you were going to win. Alec and Maggie and Paul and Buster were very well liked in the community.
They were connected, just one phone call to say, make this go away, and it does.
I don't think that I had any concept of how interesting and convoluted this thing was going to become.
This is Alec Murdaugh. My wife and child have been shot badly.
A high-profile family has lost both a mother and a son, both shot and killed.
The shock of it was huge for our entire community.
For a family that seemed squeaky clean, and to watch it all crumble around them. Her body was found by voters on Sunday.
There is yet another case tied back to this family. 19-year-old Stephen Smith, whose body was found in the middle of a rural road.
The only name that was given to me was the murder name.
Gloria Satterfield died, and a lot of money was recovered by Alex Murdaugh. Alex is charged with and agreed that he stole $9 million from his clients. The assistant United States District Attorney said no, he stole $10.5 million.
With this story, you really just cannot make it up. It is crazier than a movie script. We're talking fraud, money laundering, and murder, all to prop up his power and prestige. It's really just completely outrageous.
Behind closed doors, the center of it all, family patriarch, Alec Murdaugh.
Once that video was unveiled to the courtroom, there was an audible gasp.
This is so bad. We did it so bad.
Really wasn't expecting this level of drama. It was just one revelation after the other.
Okay, wait a second. He's been lying this whole time.
I did lie to them.
One man controlled this crime scene, and that was all.
Bombshell accusations now from Alec Murdaugh defense attorneys.
So we have filed a motion for a new trial.
You thought it must now be over, but it just kept going from there.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
The Low Country would be defined as that area from about Georgetown, South Carolina to the Georgia-South Carolina border. It is a coastal area. It's very picturesque. You've got lots of navigable waters, a lot of boating, water sports, and a lot of hunting.
Friendly people, very rural. I think we got 4 stoplights. So it's not very big.
I have always taken pride in the fact that even though we live in this small little community, everybody looks out for everybody.
The Murdaugh family name was well known in the Hampton area to be a legendary legal family in the entire area. They basically controlled everything from the early 1900s through their law firm and through the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office. They had all that power when it came to the criminal side of things.
The Murdaughs win just every case that they ever tried. If they had your case, you were going to win. If the Murdaugh was coming for you, you had no way of winning.
I've known the Murdaugh family my entire life. We grew up together. Our kids were growing up together. In Hampton, the Murdaugh family would have big parties out there on Friday or Saturday nights, and that was where we went. That was a big part of our high school, building fires and hanging out and partying. They took pride in knowing somebody when you need help. Just one phone call to say, make this go away. And it does, it goes away.
Alec and Maggie and Paul and Buster were very well liked in the community. They could not go into a public place without Alec going up to anyone and everyone and greeting them. Whenever there was a family in need, and me and Alec and Maggie really did pitch in and help. That law firm has done a lot in the community. Fundraisers, have a big Christmas toy drive and things like that.
Their reputation was good, but also many people feared them at any point because of the power that they held in the entire area. Just understand, this is a family with all kinds of power. It's almost like a Southern Mafia family.
They put people in positions. They put magistrates in their jobs. They put people in law enforcement. They were connected all the way up to the White House. And if anyone needed help of any kind, that's where he would go.
A tragic boat crash in February of 2019 that took the life of 19-year-old Mallory Beach involved the Murdaugh's youngest son, Paul. And really it was the catalyst for the takedown of this powerful family. Mallory Beach was 19 years old, and by all accounts, an effervescent young woman, just had a lot of good energy. Anthony Cook was the boyfriend of Mallory Beach, and also a friend of Paul Murdaugh's, the son of Alec Murdaugh.
My name is Beverly Cook, and I am Anthony Cook's mother. When Anthony and Paul were very young, they became good friends, and Paul was a privileged child. He had money. He came from a prominent family, but he felt like he was only allowed to act a certain way at certain times, but when he was at our house, he didn't have to do that. He could just be himself. That day, Anthony and Mallory were at our house, and I remember it vividly. I knew they were going out that night. They told me they were going to Paul's River house. I remember them leaving the house very clearly, and I love you was the last thing that we said.
How this all started was a bunch of kids who wanted to go out drinking. Paul Murdaugh went to the convenience store. He's underage. He's using his brother's ID. He's even caught on tape coming out of the store, holding the beer, the seltzers in his hands, holding them over his head, like in a celebration factor, saying, look at what I did, look at what the rest of the day holds for us.
These were all young friends, all in the ages of 19, 20 years old, all underage. You have Connor Cook, Molly Altman, Connor Cook's girlfriend. You have Anthony Cook, Connor's cousin, Mallory Beach, Morgan Dowdy, and of course Paul Murdaugh. They began the evening by getting on board a boat and went for a joyride for several hours. Ultimately, they found themselves in Beaufort, pulling up to a dock there. No one really wanted to stop except Paul Murdaugh.
Connor and Paul went inside the restaurant to get more drinks, while the other four were walking alongside that dock instead. So what we're looking at is the group basically walking down the dock area of Beaufort right now. Anthony and Mallory together. You can see Paul staggering a little bit along with Morgan right there. At this point, Paul believed that he should be driving despite the fact that he had obviously been drunk.
Paul drank from a young age, and he had an alter ego called Timmy, and he'd sort of become more scrappy and looking for a fight. Paul was so drunk that by the time he gets in the boat with everyone, they start to see signs of Timmy has arrived. So Paul was driving really erratically. He would speed up, and he would slow down, and he would go in sort of loops and show them that he was in control. It didn't matter what they said. They're becoming increasingly more worried, and little did anyone know that they were seconds away from their lives changing forever.
911, where's your emergency? We're in a boat crash on Arthur Street.
At the dock?
We're in the boat. We have someone missing.
There were people screaming, there were people in the water, people were crying for several of the other kids in the boat were injured.
There's 6 of us and one is missing.
When the boat crash happened, it's a chaotic situation out there. Mallory Beach ends up in the water, and immediately the question is, where is she? You can hear it on the tape, and it's panic in their voices. At that point, everyone's not exactly sure what's happening. Then you get police to come on the scene.
Mom, there's 50 cops here, Coast Guard, everything. We can't find Mallory. It's there 30 minutes.
When we got that phone call, I was shocked to hear Anthony on this end of the line.
Y'all need to come to we hit a bridge in the boat. Carter Morgan's messed up bad. We can't find him out.
He doesn't say the F word to me. Ever, ever, ever. but just the fact that he said that word to me immediately, I knew something was bad.
Oh, you like what? My girlfriend called, you're taking what? Oh, she's not. Yeah.
I mean, what else can you do but be angry in that moment? And so he lashed out because he knew that nobody was going to do anything tall about it.
Anthony was in the back of the boat, and he was trying to protect Mallory, but ultimately she was thrown from his lap when they hit that bridge.
Anthony, he knows in that moment that Mallory is not coming back.
Hey, I'm with Department of Natural Resources. Who was driving the boat? The last time I grabbed my girlfriend down in the bottom of the boat. You all know Alec Murdaugh? That's his son. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. That's his son. Good luck.
My name's Jim.
Rich ass white
I
people.
started representing Paul in the boating accident.
We're talking about the Murdaughs. And if you know the Murdaughs, you know there's a bunch of deaths surrounding that whole family. And one of them starts with the kid, the son, who ends up dead later.
The people in the boating accident and their parents.
A boating accident because he's drunk and he's stupid and kills a girl, injures a bunch of his friends, and gets off scot-free. Then of course dad murders mom and son. It's just a mess. These people are a fucking mess.
His medical blood was something in the 0.24 range. Our legal level, like most states today, is 0.08.
I think his grandfather said it best. He said, he's darker than Cooter Brown.
Murdaugh was at the hospital for one primary reason, and it was not emotional support. It was to clear Paul's name and to clear the family name.
The Murdaughs said Connor should not talk to the police, shouldn't talk about who was operating the boat, and that everything was going to be taken care of. Connor's parents were concerned because they felt that there was an intimidation factor. Well, there's nothing worse than a wrongful accusation, except a wrongful conviction. And I wanted to make sure that that did not occur.
The next morning, news of the boat crash and Mallory's disappearance hit social media.
Horrifying. A boat slams into a bridge, a girl is missing.
19-year-old Mallory Beach hasn't been seen since a boat she and 5 friends were riding in hit a piling in Archers Creek on Sunday morning.
A helicopter, 11 different boats, and 7 divers have been combing the waters in and around that area.
Going down to the bridge first thing every morning, he was just so distraught. He just wanted to find her. Maggie and Paul and Alec came out to the bridge. They were their normal selves. They were politicking, is what I call it. Just smiling and shaking hands and saying everything's going to be okay. We're here. What can we do?
Redo my nails soon.
I was in the truck by myself watching the helicopters and praying, and I heard somebody get in the back seat, and it was Maggie. She chit-chatted just a little bit, and she finally asked me, what do you think will happen if they never find her? And I think that hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know how you can even say that.
What do you think's
She
going to
could feel the
happen?
tension and exited the vehicle. That's when my mind started going crazy, thinking that was not an option. It was hurtful, but it was expected. I mean, it just did not surprise me at all because it's just who they were.
The search for Mallory Beach went on for 5 days. They called it a rescue mission. They were desperately trying to find her alive.
On Sunday, we had all gone to church together. Mallory's family, our family, everybody. And then later, we were home, and I got a call. That's how I found out that they had found her. And Anthony, who was curled up in his bed with her sweater.
Some of my workout.
And we had to tell him.
Did a AM and PM.
And then it was like, it had happened all over again. It was just, I can't describe that moment.
Mallory was missing for more than a week. Her body was found by boaters in the Broad Creek Marina area on Sunday. As for what happened that night, it's still under investigation.
Well, drowning and blunt force trauma to the head after the crash, that's what an autopsy showed as the reason that Mallory Beach died.
The fact that Mallory's body was found is significant because she could have been lost at sea and her cause of death might not have been known. For Paul and his family, the finding of her body also put more pressure on them. And social media is getting more and more heated. The hashtag Justice for Mallory was established. They're calling out law enforcement for protecting the Murdaughs.
Online, you had a lot of people who said he should pay for this. At the same time, a lot of people never believed that he would ever stand trial or ever truly pay the price because there was a Murdaugh involved.
There was this outrage online from many social media users about how long it was taking for Paul Murdaugh to be
Hi, everybody.
They were implying that law enforcement may have been
We're about to start our workout here in a
for
minute.
many consequences.
Where is the state or federal investigation of all these local officials who've been protecting this family?
And this is really when people
We
start
just
to get
redid
upset because this
our
is
workout
when they realize
regimen.
how much power this family had.
So it's a little bit more balanced all the way around because right now I am a bit
Convoluted this thing was going to become.
stop. I am a bit glute focused at the moment, which is not changing, but I also want to work on more core.
Paul was going to face any consequence for this crash.
Fine, come say hi. Come say hi. You want to say hi so bad? Come say hi. Hello. Hello from Cali. Say hello. Now she's mad. Now she just looks angry. But she's purring.
Paul eventually gets charged with
You say hello? You say hello?
And causing serious bodily injury. And his lawyers were ready to take this to trial if it came to that.
Paul Murdaugh sat silently for most of his arraignment hearing. Murdaugh's attorney made his plea of not guilty to 3 felony counts and waived the hearing of any charges.
So now that Paul has pleaded not guilty, he's actually released on something called a personal recognizance bond. It's a PR bond. Basically, a judge reviews someone's criminal history.
Or an OR bond on your own recognizance, not a PR.
The community.
We asked for a PR bond. In South Carolina, unless it's a murder case, you have a constitutional right to a bond. And he got the bond.
Going to set a personal recognizance bond in the amount of $50,000.
A lot of Mallory's family felt like the amount of the bond was a slap in the face to them. There would not be accountability. We wanted him to own up to what had happened, to admit what happened, to be sorry for what happened, to feel responsibility.
With a team of expensive and high-powered attorneys in place, Alec Murdaugh was going to make sure that his son didn't have to follow the same procedure that any old Joe would, including that typical jailhouse mugshot.
This is the photo that was taken of Paul after his arraignment. Usually when somebody's arrested, they have a mugshot taken, but he's not wearing an orange jumpsuit. He's wearing this sort of plaid shirt.
Oh my God, you guys are idiots. They don't wear orange jumpsuits during mugshots. God, they do mugshots before they change you out. Oh, that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Anybody else would.
Oh, they weren't in an orange jumpsuit, so therefore it's not a real mugshot. It is a mugshot. It is a mugshot.
He had moments that he could be like that.
Golly.
But that was not his true soul.
Listen, for those that
I think a lot of the times
they don't, sometimes they'll change you out before they take your mugshot, but for the most part, they take your mugshot before you even get booked. It's part of your booking process. So before you even get changed out into your oranges or your blues or whatever color the jail has, you are straight up you're in your regular clothes getting mugshotted and shit. Like, you're getting fingerprinted and all that. Lay down, Callie.
Social media really sort of lit up. A lot of people in support of Mallory Beach. I think most people were just really...
Omni, I'm sorry. Mommy didn't mean to do that.
Was using his family name to get preferential treatment.
On social media, people can just unload.
Okay, stop.
And it just caught wind. It's a place that is not news, it's just a gossip column.
No.
And so that affected the family.
No.
I can understand what people felt like
This is why.
Treatment.
Oh, for those of you that know, this is why. She's so annoying. She just wants love, but she's so annoying.
As the Murdaugh's defense team was preparing to...
Honey, you're annoying, mommy.
Up to 30 years in prison for this. But they were able to delay this.
I know what you want, and I just tried to do that, and you told me no. You got up.
The fabric of the Murdaugh legacy starts
you
coming
got
apart,
up.
it seems.
Mm-hmm.
No, with the emergency. This is Alec Murdaugh. At 4140,000 Moselle Road. I need the police to access immediately. My wife and child have been shot badly.
This is the 911 call recording of Alec on June 7th.
Brain, I can see his brain.
Okay, did you hear anything, or did you come home and find out?
I've been gone. I just came back.
This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I went down. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious. He's been getting like punched. I know that's what it is.
My immediate thought was that it had to be some deranged person who wanted to take the law in their own hands because he thought Paul Murdaugh was going to get away with the murder of Mallory Beach.
You just wonder, how could something like this happen? Is someone targeting them?
Alec Murdaugh was questioned at the scene that night by SLED, which is the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and the SLED agents take him to their car.
What comes to my mind is my son Paul.
Don't ask me why. She just loves it. She absolutely loves it when you pat her.
Negative publicity about that. There's been a lot of people online just really foul stuff. I came home. I was up at the house. Laid down, took a nap on the couch, probably, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes.
She doesn't like it when you
I
stop.
called Maggie, didn't get an answer. I left the house and went to my mom's for just a little while. I came back here. I pulled up and I could see him, and I knew something was bad. It was my boy over there. I could see. And I ran over to Maggie. Actually, I think I tried to turn Paul over. I tried to take their pulse on both of them.
What I find so shocking is that people who hear that think he's acting. And I don't know why they think that.
What do you get out of killing Maggie and Paul? Maybe he was sick of Paul in the sense of like, Paul had caused all this trouble for the family. Now, Alec was the widower, he's lost his son. There's an air of sympathy for him.
You got to remember that this is sort of a small community and he's well known. So perhaps it wasn't odd that they didn't immediately go to the darkest place. But Alec Murdaugh was being afforded a lot of courtesies that other people wouldn't get.
So he was never detained, never put into a position where he was truly a person of interest.
Immediately after Paul and Maggie were murdered, 2 days later, Randolph Murdaugh died. And so Alec's grieving over the loss of his wife and son and dad. And he is not functioning, honestly. He really was a broken man.
As if there weren't enough madness in this case, now there was another case that had rumors flying. The murders of Maggie and Paul end up bringing attention to another death that has connections to the Murdaugh family.
Yep. Here goes death number 2 or 3. Ow! Don't bite me. You don't bite mommy. You don't bite mommy.
First you got Mallory Beach, then Maggie and Paul, and now another death. Seems to be unaccounted for.
You don't bite mommy. Why would you bite me?
Everybody connected
Look at me.
it back and
Why
started
you
that
bite
rumor
me?
mill again about how the Murdaugh family may have been involved in Stephen Smith's murder just a few years
You bite mommy, you go away.
The night
You're
of
being
July
feisty now. Go get your mom.
Stephen Smith was driving home. He was coming home late at night, at 2 o'clock in the morning. And his car broke down on a very dark stretch of road about 3 miles from Alex and Maggie Murdaugh's home at Bazell. And supposedly what happened is he began walking down a dark country road to his home, and something happened. Some truck driver was driving down the road, and the truck driver called 911.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
Hello, I just going down Crocodile Road. I see somebody laying out in the road. Somebody gonna hit him.
Stephen Smith, 19 years old, was found dead, lying in the middle of Sandy Run Road.
My name is Sandy Smith, and I'm Stephen Smith's mother. I was on my way to work in Hampton in the car. I heard on this radio station that there was a body thrown out of a car on Sandy Run. Didn't think about it. Stephen is a twin, and his sister's name is Stephanie. And later on, she called me, and she said, by the way, did Stephen spend the night with you last night? And I knew right there that that was my baby in that road. My heart started pounding and went straight to my stomach, and it was like it started shaking. Devastating. Hard to move on from that. We were first told that it was a gunshot wound. Later, we were told that he was beaten by a blunt object. Then the final cause was pedestrian versus vehicle. While he was walking to get gas, well, he had his cell phone and his key in his pocket, but his wallet was still in the car. So how are you going to get gas with your wallet still in the car?
The pathologist reached the conclusion that Stephen Smith was hit by a car and killed, and that it was a hit and run. But his clothes weren't ripped. His sneakers were still on. He had a couple of abrasions on his hand, on the inside of his arms, but the lion's share of his injuries were to his head. If you're ever hit by a car, you would have broken pelvis or broken knees. You would be thrown a long way, and you would tumble, and your clothes would rip. Shoes just get blown off your body. So it almost looked like Stephen was hurt or wounded or killed somewhere else, and he was laid down there. The investigators do interviews. Kids that they went to school with blamed Buster for Stephen's death. And that's why the Murdaugh name starts to be interwoven in the investigative file.
The only name that was given to me was the murder name.
For 6 years, Sandy Smith was a mother who lived without an answer of how her child died.
Stephen graduated from Wade Hampton High School in 2014. He knew Buster as a classmate.
Buster Murdaugh is Alec and Maggie's older son. To the public, Buster looks like he's sort of this quiet kid. He wasn't a bad seed like Paul was perceived to be. Buster sort of seemed just as like uber snobby.
Before Stephen passed away, he did tell me that he was fixing to go deep sea fishing. And I said, oh, cool, who are you going with? And he said, a friend. He said, a prominent friend. I said, oh, okay. I said, where are you going? He said, Key West. Never thought about it until somebody told me that
Omni,
there was
stop.
pictures posted of the Murdaughs in Key West deep sea fishing. Then it was like, is there some kind of connection here?
People would pick on Stephen for being gay, so then, you know, you kind of figure out that's not how people in Hampton think you should be. Stephen never hid who he was. He was always who he was, regardless of who liked him and who didn't.
He knew we loved him, we supported him, and whatever he did.
That's looked down upon by a lot of people in Hampton.
There is yet another case tied back to this unsolved for years, and it wasn't until Paul and Maggie's murders that investigators gave this case a closer look.
Social media seemed to be on fire about connections between Buster Murdaugh and Stephen Smith's death. But even though there were tips that had come in, he was never interviewed in the case and wasn't charged either.
SLED made it sound like they found something that would implicate Buster or Alec in Stephen Smith's death. And that ran like wildfire. And it was so defamatory to Buster. He's been through so much. And these rumors just kept building. This is Maggie Murdaugh's Facebook page and some really sick comments. Buster is gay and his father either knew or was about to find out, and poor Stephen's death was ignored. A, this is so not true, and B, so disgusting, and C, I mean, why would someone go on Maggie Murdaugh's Facebook page with her family and desecrate it like that? I mean, it's a desecration. To this day, SLED won't come out and say Buster had nothing to do with it. And yet he's been twisting in the wind. We're in an investigation. Buster's name came up a few times. The highway patrolman, he can't even identify the original source for Buster's name. And it was just rank speculation. People were trying to associate Buster with Stephen Smith, which there's no connection whatsoever.
Well, we're aware of no credible evidence that would link Buster Murdaugh to the death of Stephen Smith.
We have a wooden cross where Stephen was found. And it has Stephen's name on it.
We're about to work out, guys.
I want everyone to see
My
it
leg is
because
hurting.
if there's somebody out there that knows something, I want you to remember where my son took his last breath.
Now that the details of Stephen Smith's death have really resurfaced, right on the heels of Paul and Maggie's death, the suspicions in the community are really starting to percolate. And Buster and Alec seem to be on trial in the court of public opinion. And their dynasty is sort of on the edge.
So basically every day we're waiting to hear if somebody's going to be arrested for the murders of Maggie and Paul. But then Labor Day weekend happens, and now we have the man at the center of it all getting shot at.
I got a 911 was emergency. I got a flat tire, and I stopped, and somebody stopped to help me. And when I turned my back, they tried to shoot me.
As if the murders weren't crazy enough, now another member of the Murdaugh family has been shot.
Oh, okay. Were you shot? Yeah, I believe it was. What part of your body? I'm not sure. Somewhere on my head. I'm bleeding pretty bad. What's your name? Alec Murdaugh.
Andrew Davis out here in Hampton County right now with the story that really everybody is talking about.
My initial reaction was, is everybody being targeted? Then you get on scene and you start to understand what's going on.
It was somewhere after 1:30 today. He claims he was on the side of the road trying to change a tire. Two men came up and then opened fire on him.
Do we have a serial killer on our hands? Do we have someone who's targeting this family specifically, and why?
Alec gets shot in the side of the head. There's an entrance wound right behind the ear and an exit wound sort of in the rear of the head, but it didn't kill him.
Once Alex sits down with SLED agents to give them more details about the shooting, he also gives them a detailed description of the suspect. Based on this, police put together a sketch of the assailant who allegedly shot Alec.
When they held that mugshot up, I was just in shock because at a glance, my first thought was he was trying to describe my son. And it went viral. Somebody took one of Anthony's pictures and put it beside this sketch and saying, looks like he was trying to point the finger at Anthony the whole time.
Immediately, the internet starts going crazy. There was a lot of doubt out there. Everything seemed suspicious, and the public was definitely seeing it.
Just 2 days after this mysterious and bizarre shooting, Alec Murdaugh announced that he was entering rehab for a drug addiction that he'd been struggling with for several years.
Alec had a severe opioid addiction. He'd been to detox a couple of times, but he'd never gone on to the rehab portion of treatment. And I think that Paul's boat accident and Paul's charges and the stress of that, I think that just sent him into further addiction.
As we continued to cover the Murdaughs on News Nation, we were just stunned by how many layers continued to be peeled back on this story.
Alec Murdaugh found his wife and son dead 3 months ago, and then just days ago, he says he was shot in the head on the side of the road. Now he is accused of stealing money from the powerful law firm that he helped create.
Alec Murdaugh's law firm alleged that over a period of 9 years, he had made $14 million, but he had stolen $7 million at the same time.
Now, Alec Murdaugh has been accused of financial crimes. And this is where social media really kicked in. And now they're hooked. So we were wondering, why isn't he getting arrested for this. Why isn't he being charged? And then we started to hear that there was a suspect in the shooting. So that became another explosive thing.
Overnight, investigators announced charges in connection to the shooting of Alec Murdaugh. South Carolina law enforcement officers arrested 61-year-old Curtis Smith for the roadside shooting that sent Alec Murdaugh to the hospital on September 4th.
Curtis Eddie Smith was a distant relative of Alec. Over time, they became friends, and Eddie was able to get Alec, drugs, opioid pills.
The big question on everyone's mind, why would Curtis Eddie Smith want Alec Murdaugh dead? Within a day of Smith's arrest, there were already people on social media who had their doubts about this attempt on Alec Murdaugh's life. People were already questioning whether this was a weird, sort of dark ploy by Alec Murdaugh himself. But then a recorded interview between SLED agents and Alec Murdaugh reveals the real reason behind this roadside shooting. And social media explodes when this new info comes to light. Just days after the roadside shooting, SLED Senior Special Agent Ryan Kelly conducted a telephone interview with Alec Murdaugh. His lawyers, Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, were present. It was recorded, and there was a bombshell confession.
Bombshell confession.
Smith is the primary person who I purchased pills from for years.
And some weeks you would give him how much money for pills?
He had weeks where there would be $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
Alec spent more money than he had on drugs, and that caused him to steal money to support his drug habit. He was writing checks for drugs.
I told him that things were getting ready to get really bad, and that I would be better off not here. And I asked him to shoot me. And I think at first he was a little surprised, but then he said, okay.
Did you pay Curtis any money for this?
No, sir.
I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I understand. I told him to follow me out, and that I would make a flat tire, and he would go past me and turn around and come back and do it.
So what was your intent?
For him to kill me. I thought that it would make it easier on my family for me to be dead. I have a fair amount of life insurance.
Do you remember how much?
Now, off the top of my head, I like $10 million, $12 million.
So your intent was to have him kill you so you could collect your life insurance, right?
So my son could. I mean, I knew I was about to lose everything, and I figured he's better off that way.
If you believe Alec, he needed cousin Eddie to help him take his own life, to get insurance money for his son.
Stop.
Not everybody believes that story. Some believe that Alec was hell-bent on making it look like Eddie was not only trying to kill Alec, but trying to kill his entire family.
He shot me.
Where did you shoot you?
Stop on me.
In the back of the head.
Stop, Callie.
I do think he was feeling desperate. The number one most important thing in the Murdaugh family is preserving power and wealth. And so, at the very least, I can leave this legacy to my surviving son.
Curtis Eddie Smith gets arrested, and he's charged with conspiring with Alec. And to this day, he still has these charges hanging over his head. Eddie's story is that Alec asked him to shoot him, and Eddie didn't want any part of that, and either the gun went off accidentally or he accidentally knocked Alec over and Alec hit his head on the ground. So we don't quite know what happened.
To this day, Smith denies ever being Alec's drug dealer or ever even being a drug user himself.
Alec Murdaugh, one of the most powerful men in South Carolina, turned himself into police today.
The big thing on social media about the roadside shooting came up when Alec appeared in court in Hampton County for bond hearing. charged with insurance fraud and submitting a false police report.
Tonight, Alec Murdaugh out of jail and back in rehab. The once prominent attorney granted a $20,000 bond this afternoon and released on his own recognizance.
So that turned even more people against him specifically. Well, maybe he would then commit murder. What else was he doing to other people in Hampton County?
We started doing a lot of research into what other things that the Murdaughs might have been involved in. Then we found this obituary that showed Gloria Satterfield, the longtime housekeeper of Alec and Maggie Murdaugh, died under suspicious circumstances as well.
911 emergency. 4147 Roseville Road. What's going on out there? My housekeeper has fallen and her head is bleeding. I cannot get her up. Where'd she fall from? She's not going up the steps, up the brick steps. She's on the ground. She's on the ground. Is she conscious? No, not really. Well, I mean, she's mumbling.
Gloria was rushed to a hospital. She had an internal brain bleed, and she had 12 broken ribs. And she died 3 weeks later. There was a petition in December of 2018 that asked court approval for the Gloria Satterfield $500,000 settlement. After her death, there was a claim made, and a lot of money was recovered by Alec Murdaugh. And none of the money went to the Satterfield family. I've never had a case where an attorney took every cent from a client. And, you know, quite frankly, I was in disbelief.
Once the news surfaced of another death connected to the Murdaugh family, and this one with financial swindling, social media just lit up, and everybody seemed to have a theory.
The Gloria Satterfield case ended up being a $4.3 million settlement. And we're not just talking about this one settlement.
He stole from not only the Satterfield family, but for a full 16 years, Alec Murdaugh was stealing from other clients.
Stop.
Because his victims, they're people who come to the Murdaugh law firm in the most distressing of times. Alex was able to prey
I love you.
on these people because they didn't know any better, which is shameful. It's one of the worst financial abuses I've ever seen.
You're my sweetheart. Come
We know that there was money and that the clients didn't get it. So why isn't he getting
No.
arrested for this? So
It's your mom's
again,
turn.
we need more calls online for law enforcement agents to do something.
here. No.
South Carolina's law enforcement division arrested Alec Murdaugh in Florida right after his release from a drug rehabilitation facility in Orlando. He's accused of stealing $4.3 million.
What is
in
that
stolen
one?
money from Gloria Satterfield's son.
And then in October of 2021, he just left his rehab and he got arrested in the Satterfield case. So that was the last day of freedom that he had.
We obtained arrest warrants of Alec. We needed to get him in custody as soon as possible. My name is Creighton Waters, and I was the lead prosecutor in the Murdaugh case. We came out with our first round indictments against him in November of 2021, and ultimately he received a $7 million bond on those charges.
Alex is charged with and agreed that he stole $9 million. Emily Limehouse, the assistant United States District Attorney, said no, he stole $10.5 million.
That was momentous because we were seeing a Murdaugh in his family's courthouse, basically, in prison garb. So that was huge. There is a certain amount of satisfaction in that.
right around this time, the Murdaugh saga goes sideways because SLED makes an announcement that Alec Murdaugh is actually a person of interest in the deaths of his own wife and son, Maggie and Paul.
In June of 2022, we had a
Much
meeting with the
needed
Attorney General,
practice.
and we presented the evidence we need to go ahead and charge him. And so he was indicted for the murders in July.
It felt like kind of like a minor victory in the sense that like I'm seeing accountability happen.
Alec Murdaugh pleads not guilty, so that means this thing is headed to trial. The number one question, is this guy going to get off? The ultimate judgment of the Murdaugh dynasty is now on the world stage. The trial of Alec Murdaugh begins on January 25th, 2023. Brian Enton is right there on the ground at the Colleton County Courthouse in South Carolina.
You know, actually, you always hear that saying, you can't make this up. I mean, with this story, you really just cannot make it up. It is crazier than a movie script.
Many people said it was the trial of the century. The prosecution's theory was that Alec Murdaugh actually committed the murders to take the focus off of the financial crimes that he was involved in. The house cards were coming down on top of him.
You've got a extremely powerful, well-established Southern family. You have allegations that of power and influence and their effect on the system. On top of that, you have these two just horrific murders.
Going into the trial, we thought the state did not have sufficient proof or forensic evidence to prove that he committed the murder. And so we felt really good about our chances.
About a week into the trial, there's a standout moment that sparks a debate and really divides social media. SLED agent Jeff Croft testifies that he was 100% confident that in Alec's interview after the murders, that he said something potentially incriminating.
All right, this time we're going to play Exhibit 243, the second interview of Alec Murdaugh.
And you definitely saw a traumatic picture, and I know it's hard. And sitting there talking today is tough. It's just so bad. It's so bad.
It sounds like to some that said, I did them so bad. So if you thought that Alec did it, this would be perfect proof that, yes, he did.
It's just so bad. It's so bad.
Instead, others heard it as they did him so bad. And he's in sort of an emotional state, so it is very difficult to hear.
It's just so bad. It's so bad.
Did he say I or they? This is something that the jury spent a good chunk of the day trying to decide. Take a listen to it slowed down this time.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
That was very hotly debated on social media. It was almost like 50-50. You either heard, I did him so bad, or they did him so bad. Personally, I think he said I.
Special Agent Croft said, I heard him say, I did him so bad. And when I listened to the recording, I couldn't say that was wrong. And I'm talking to the person who was actually in the car asking the question and having the conversation.
It sounded distinctly to me like they, and yet the person sitting next to me, member of the press, said, well, I'm hearing I.
But people just hear what they want to hear. And I think that's ultimately what that was about.
Almost like a Freudian slip. And the theory behind Freudian slips is that parts of our unconscious, parts of our feelings that we aren't in touch with.
Hi, Wolfie. How you doing?
At these kind of inopportune or strange times, but they are the truth.
Get up. Then the key piece of evidence that proved the most damaging was introduced into the trial, the dog kennel video. On the night of the murder, Alec's son Paul was recording his friend's dog with his cell phone. What's key about this is that Alec has maintained that he was visiting his mother at the time the video was taken, that he was never at the dog kennel that night until he discovered Maggie and Paul.
Paul is there videotaping on his phone. You can see Cash the dog with his tail wagging, and Paul is trying to send that to his friend Rogan Gibson so that Rogan can determine whether or not they take his dog to the vet to get his tail looked at. I wanted the jury to hear Paul and Maggie's voice because that is the last time their voices would ever be heard by anyone on earth.
Hey, he's got burns now.
Bubba. Hey, Bubba.
In the background, you can hear other voices, and those voices were very specifically identified as Maggie Murdaugh
Hey, he's got burns now.
and Alec Murdaugh.
It's a kitty.
There's a chicken.
At that moment, we said, okay, wait a second. He's been lying this whole time about never being down there at the kennel.
Are you live right now?
Cell phone data shows that it was recorded at 8:44 p.m. that night. This now places Alec Murdaugh at the murder scene just minutes before his wife and son were shot and proves that he was there minutes before the murder.
Once that video was unveiled to the courtroom, there was an audible gasp. It was the thing that you see in drama series, not in real life. There's rarely this piece of evidence as large as this one that just sort of turns everything on its head in real time.
I think the kennel video gave me a level of comfort that let me believe that we can prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. The other video that was very significant in this case was a Snapchat video from Paul's phone that was taken a couple hours before the murders.
It showed Alec standing with one of the trees that just wasn't wanting to stand up.
It wasn't uploaded until 7:56 that night, which is less than an hour before Paul was killed. The video itself shows Alec
I'm good, Drew. How are you?
khakis in a seafoam green shirt.
I mean, I think if you stream like this.
He's in a white t-shirt and a pair of shorts and a different pair of shoes entirely, and we've never found that seafoam shirt, pants, or shoes again. The question would be, why did he change the clothes? And more than that, where did those clothes go? The implication would be that there was something that would tie him to the murders on the clothes themselves, and that's why we've never found them again.
But once the family's current housekeeper, Blanca Simpson, takes the stand, Alec Murdaugh's clothes become a bigger point of contention with the shocking information she reveals.
You recognize those pants in state 7?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize?
I took care of the laundry.
Blanca described the clothes that Alec was wearing, that those clothes, after the crime, she never saw those again.
And he sort of started to plant the seed with her that he was not wearing an outfit.
He was pacing back and forth in the living room, and he said, I got a bad feeling. He said, I got a bad feeling. He said, something's not right. He said, you remember the shirt I was wearing, that Benny Vine shirt? In my mind, it was the polo shirt. I didn't say anything, but I was kind of thrown back because I don't remember that. I don't remember him wearing that shirt that day when he left. I know what shirt he was wearing because I fixed the collar, and the collar's different material.
What this testimony effectively was suggesting was that Alec Murdaugh may have tried to sway Blanca into telling investigators, if they asked, that he was wearing one thing when in fact he was wearing something different.
It was unusual to be seeing a paid employee of the family speak out in a way that was against the narrative of the family. But she stuck to her own values and she told the truth.
All right, y'all.
Then it was
It's now or never. I know, I'm a little fat ass right here. I'm about to go work out. I'm gonna hide that. I don't like how that looks right there. What do you mean, what channel did I make? I didn't make any channel. It's my same channel. Wolfie. I just don't game anymore, really. This is the fit today. Let's see what I need. My wallet. No, it's just my everyday life, Wolfie. It's just my everyday life. Oh yeah. Interesting pillow I got here. Whoops. If you know, you know. From GTA, if you know, you know. Thank you, Drew. It's cold. Okay. I'm back. I'm putting the hair up this time. Out of my face. Seems all the progress so far. Not too much. Okay. Alright guys, you ready to go do the damn thing? Boom, 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 boom. We're gonna grab one more thing. Alright, let's do this shit. Yes, Wolfie. How are things with you? The hose is laughing. What I just said. And it's obvious that you're already gone. on to nothing. You don't care too much, and it's obvious that you're already gone. Wolfie, you still on here? Oh. I'm not trying to say ya. Never trying to thank ya. So good. You really want that what now? Yeah, kicking down doors, you know me mean what? Kicking down the doors, you know you mean what? You know me mean what? I do that like that because I'm also working my glutes at the same time, but just having them locked in place. So. Not the normal crowd today, huh? Ooh, these BSSs are gonna hurt. Fuck. It's this glute. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Dude, I couldn't get enough. Feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. My body's just taking. Got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. We're feeling good, Jane. Who the fuck is calling me? Hello? I'm working out. I'm working out. What are you doing? Whew. You got YouTube? Well, I'm live streaming. I can send you my link if you want. Alright, bet. I can call you when I'm done with my workout, if you want me to. Alright, bet. Alright. Woo! Thank you, Wolfie. I'll make you a moderator. You still play with Bradley? Yes, sir. Side your squat. To fight when I feel like flying. Hold on to me. All right. Last set of reps. I'm checking. I'm not checking my pulse. I'm checking for skipped beats. That's what happens. My bench is in the way. Master, I feel him. We're ready. Which way ready for me? Fuck. Alright, last set. Oh. No, I'm tired. I'm sweating so bad. Hold ya. Here comes the boom. Boom. I wanna know. I stink. Shake it to the max. Bitch, you crazy. Don't break me. So fucking done with you, girl. So fucking done with all the games you play. It ain't no tic-tac-toe. That's no the better Lord, don't break me. Fall so fucking done with you, girl. You, girl. Roxanne. And got me to the dance. Got me in the trance. Yeah, I do. Goddamn. On to the flow, the way your booty go. It has to be controlled, Drew. It has to be controlled. That's the whole point. If you rush them and they're not slow and controlled, you're not doing anything. You're not building anything. You can't just rush it. That's why you see me go very slow when it comes to the RDLs. You see me go very slow down. Get what I'm saying? So that way you can work those. And I'm damned if I don't. Without you, I know that you won't. And it's when I see the sun. I'll put that on, it's sweaty. I got my pants dirty. Alright. This is it. These pants don't really do it justice, but it is what it is. So, it is what it is. Still lumpy in the front. I'm telling you, baby. Then drive your young mind crazy. And in Colorado. No wait at all. Doing I'm damned if I don't. One second, guys. It's a little bit better. Shit is soaked. Find me. Hey, get out. Come and find me. Come and find me. Hello. Yeah. Oh, my stomach hurts. Y'all, it is about that time again where I will be leaving. So I will be back. Maybe I'll cook dinner on stream tonight, or part of it anyways. Maybe not, I don't know. But I'll be back later for my late night workout for sure. And the life of an insomniac.